In this episode of the vlog, I am back in the Scottish Highlands, where I'll be talking about how we can protect these wild lands. I'll also be giving you a Highland house renovation update, and I'll be revealing details about my new YouTube channel. Hey, I'm Sean, and welcome to my vlog channel. I live in Edinburgh in Scotland, and I've been sharing my home country on this channel since 2014. My wife Tekka is from Brazil, so we tend to travel back to her home country quite a lot as well, and I also like to share our worldwide travels right here in these videos. Great to see you here. Hit the subscribe button for weekly videos from me, and let's hit the road.
Hello folks, how's it going? Welcome to the Scottish Highlands. It has been a while since I've been up here. It's been a while since I've brought you up here to show you around, to show you the progress of my mum and dad's house up here, how they're getting on with the rebuild. I will show you, I'll give you an update today and let you know how they're getting on. And we're actually going home to Edinburgh today. The thing is, I came up yesterday for a bit of a weekend trip, and I planned to do all these videos yesterday. But autumn has caught up with us here in Scotland. Autumn has arrived, and typical autumn weather in Scotland is rain and wind. We don't have any wind whatsoever, but we do have a heck of a lot of rain. Yesterday was a total washout. Basically, I was unable to film anything because it just rained the whole day, and it looks like today is another one of those days, although it seems to be at the moment there's like gaps in between the rain, heavy rain, and then moments like now when there's like a bit of blue sky. So I've got a bit of an opportunity to do some filming now, and I'm just happy to be here in the fresh air and bringing you guys. So thank you for joining me as always. Great to see you. If you're new to my channel, don't forget to subscribe. You can probably hear the roar of the river on the other side of the road. Pretty severe. It has rained a lot. Still magical, even in the rain. When the weather's like this, it is still magical. I love it up here. This is very close to the ancient Ariandel oakwood forest here. Such a privilege to have this amazing green nature, fresh oxygen and a lot of water all around us. I do complain about the rain, but we should not complain about the rain, and we shouldn't complain about the amount of water that we have here, because it is a privilege. You know, there's a lot of places in the world that is not as fortunate to have as much rain, clean water that we do here in Scotland. You know, it is a privilege and something that we should actually celebrate. We actually have a saying here in Scotland: today's rain is tomorrow's whiskey. And I think, you know, that actually holds truth just beyond the whiskey as well. It's all about a resource that we use for everything that keeps us alive. And something I've been thinking about recently. Scotland is hosting COP26 next month. That is insane. The largest group of world leaders to come together ever in the UK's history, in the UK. We're hosting it in Glasgow. I think from the 2nd or 3rd or 5th of November, something like that. Early November, the first week in November is COP26. All the world leaders are coming to Glasgow to discuss climate change. It is the UN's climate change event, the big one that they host. And I think it's very important that Scotland holds it, because we have a fragile environment here. And, you know, really, really unique areas like this here, the Ariandel oakwood forest, which is just about a mile behind me there. Fragile area of natural beauty and of scientific interest as well, and really, really important that we preserve it. And it has got me thinking, it's really important that we protect this place and places like this around the world. We need to protect it, and a lot of it is in danger, deep danger. And it's something that's been on my mind quite heavily over the last few months as we come up to COP26. What actions can we take? Climate change poses an existential threat to us. If we can't preserve all of this behind us, the forest that we have, the rain and the water the air that we breathe, we're going to have serious problems. And I think it's good that we're having these discussions. As I'm walking down the road here and noticing on the side of the road, there's a lot of red berries on the bushes and trees right now. There's an old wives' tale that actually my granny used to say when I was younger about the red berries on the trees. If you come to autumn and there's a lot of red berries on the trees more than usual, that is a sign of a long, cold, hard winter ahead. It is Scottish folklore, it's a Scottish folklore tale, but you know, I think it's often true from my memory. So yeah, a lot of berries on the tree this year, let's see what happens. This is a sign that tells you you're entering into the National Forest, the Ariandel Forest. It's a National Nature Reserve and a really, really important part of Scotland's ecological makeup. This forest has been here a long, long time, one of our original native forests, and there's not much of it left. You know, when you get into the forest here, you think, oh, this is quite big. It's really a pinprick compared to what it used to be though, and this is one of the great challenges that we face, I think. And all of a sudden a wee bit of sunlight just up there behind me is poking up through the clouds. Just a little bit of sunlight. What I love about today though is there is no wind, so it's just so atmospheric. You've got that sunlight poking through there. You get moments and days like this, I just love it. Rain or not, like I said. Oh, I've just popped into the car because outside, I'm not sure how well you guys can hear me because the sound of that river running, it's like thunder going past. So I thought I'd pop into the car for a wee minute. I will obviously give you a bit of a tour update of the house situation, how they're getting on in there. Spoiler alert, not very quickly, but they have made some progress, which I will show you. I have done a series of videos all about my parents and their house renovations here in Strontian in the Highlands. And, you know, and no matter how good the water is for us, it does rain a lot, and it has rained a lot this weekend. But before we go inside, I want to talk to you a little bit about the IPCC report, which I think is really important to look into as we're coming up to COP26 in the very near future. The IPCC is the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, IPCC, and they released a report on climate change in August. And you know what, if we're going to save places like this, natural beauty, or if we're going to save the world that we live in and we're not going to face the devastating consequences of global warming and climate change, which are coming up and are already happening to many people around the world, then we need to act. And actually it's places like this, places like the wilderness in the Highlands of Scotland, that need to be preserved if we're going to save the rest of the world. Preserved and then regenerated. It looks at, you know, over 30,000 scientific papers to come to its conclusion. This is a science-based process, and I just think it's really important to look into these things and research, because I do care passionately about the planet and the places that we go to and the people in it, nature, the environment. You know, I want to look after it, and I want us to be able to share this with future generations. Hopefully we will. And this year's IPCC report, I think it was released on the 9th of August this year, which is good timing for the COP26 gathering that we're having in Scotland this year. You know, Scotland, by the way, I just want to say this quickly, we are a country that is small and probably insignificant to the rest of the global picture, you might think, because we've got such a small population. And even if every single person here changed the way that we live and everything, like, it's not going to have massive impacts on the rest of the world. But I think that, you know, a lot of people will say that. I think that's important to realise that it doesn't really matter if we're in a small country. We're all part of a global network, and everything anyone can do will make a difference. So the three main findings of the IPCC report this year. First of all, for this cycle of global warming that we're seeing right now, humans are unequivocally responsible for that global warming. That's finding number one. Number two, some climate systems that we're seeing are actually irreversible for centuries to come. So that's the second point. The third main finding, although time is running out, it is not too late actually to avoid the worst impacts of climate change. And I believe through willpower and, you know, the amazing ingenuity of human beings, technology, the advancements of technology, that we can actually do it. 234 authors had inputs into this report from 66 countries, a very diverse group of people. The conclusion is that we as people have had great impact on the climate as we know it right now, the oceans, and we've had devastating impacts on the land around us as well. An increase of over between 1.5 and 2% within this century. Unless we can make deep cuts in the emissions that we're currently making, and if we continued on this path, these are some of the consequences that we could face. Extreme heat, more intense and more frequently, increasing droughts in some regions, and then on the other hand, heavier and more frequent rain, more frequent wildfires, oceans that are warming, acidifying and losing oxygen. That I've always been interested in the planet and the environment and nature and you know, the way that we're impacting it. I've always considered it. But it's not something I've actually thought, right, now's the time I'm going to put some real thought and effort into it. Until the last, you know, year or two, because you can see what's going around the world and different places that I live and, you know, have been to. You can see the impacts that are happening and, you know, I'm concerned about it. And I know that many of you guys watching are also concerned. It's a lot of doom and gloom out there. People are really, really worried. But I think we need to have perspective of that doom and gloom and, you know, the worries that people have. Yes, they're serious, but I am a positive, optimistic person. I know there's lots of people out there, and probably some of you guys watching, that are going to be saying to yourself and thinking, well, I don't believe that we've got the willpower or the ambition or the ability to change what we're doing because, you know, we live in a small part of the world and then there's, you know, developing economies that are not changing their ways and they've got way more population than us. And I can understand where that doom and gloom comes from. I can understand where that pessimism comes from. But, you know, I've always been a positive person. That's the way that I live my life. I'm positive, I'm optimistic, and I think that we can make a difference and I think that we can change things. Because, you know, COP26 is a global gathering of leaders. It's not just developed economies like, you know, the United Kingdom or Canada or America. There's going to be big representation from all the developing countries in Africa, in India, China. And we need those guys on board. We need them. And we need to work in partnership with them so that the global community can come together and come up with big solutions. It doesn't work on just a local basis. Local stuff is important, but the global action is what is going to make a difference. Anyway, COP26 in Glasgow, big event for Scotland to host. I'm going to try and get along to it. I don't know if I'll get in, but it'd be cool. And I think it would be quite a special thing to be involved in to really understand.
The Climate Coalition has written a declaration on climate change action addressed to the British Prime Minister, which will be delivered in time for COP26. If you live in the UK, you can sign this declaration, and you'll find the link in the description of this video, which is aimed at sending a unified message so that the UK can forge a resilient recovery for a healthier and safer world, and hopefully inspire other countries to follow suit.
Stepped outside the car. You can still hear the river running down there. Two dogs there at the door barking away. Flocky and Ragnar. There's something I learned in geography when I was a kid is when you look at the trees and it's got that spongy stuff on it, which is lichen. If you've got a lot of lichen where you are, it means the oxygen is very clean, which we have very clean oxygen here in the Highlands. Pretty cool. You don't see much lichen in Edinburgh. It's like very, very mossy. I like that look in trees. It makes it look kind of, you know, tropical or something. The garden's coming on nicely though. I've done quite a bit of work to it, but it's inside where there have been most of the major differences. Look at this tree. It's just went bright orange. You can hear the banging away there at the other end of the house, and it's creaky floorboards. So when you look through the corridors, like, and many of the rooms, to be honest, you're going to look at it and say there's not any difference to the last time I showed you it. You know, there's still like cable sockets hanging clean off the wall there and all the rest of it. So there's obviously still a lot to do. But then one area that has been fixed, one of 3 areas which were seen by my mum, obviously is urgent. If you come into this door, it's like walking into a different house. It's like a kind of paradise compared to the rest of it. So I'm going to open this door and you'll see what I mean. Lights are on. And we have a brand new, very clean and tidy, very nice bathroom. This has all been recently fitted by my dad and George. It's all been retiled. It's all been painted nice. All new fixtures and fittings, new everything basically, new mirrors, new curtains. That's very nice what they did there, this wooden hole setup thing. I like it. So this is one of 2 bathrooms in this house which has been totally gutted and renewed. And it looks really good. It looks like a nice modern house, and that's what the whole house is going to look like eventually. Obviously, as soon as you step out the door here, you see that, you know, like, it's all just rough and tumble and exposed wooden floorboards and all the rest of it, but it's a work in progress. These things take time. So as you can see, still quite a lot to do in some of these spaces, but definite progress. You can see the walls here have all been done. That's good. Now let me show you the other bathroom, the second bathroom that has been done. I think what's cool about these bathrooms is they're so different from the rest of the house now, obviously, because they've been done. And it gives you a bit of a picture as to how the rest of the house will look once it's been done. So yeah, really, really good job that my dad and George have done of this room, and the other bathroom as well. And if the whole house is looking like this one day, it's going to be smashing. We're in Fort William. I thought it'd be a good chance here now quickly to say something else which has changed for me recently. Some of you guys will already know this if you've been watching me on, Instagram and also my other YouTube channel, which I'll tell you about in a little second. But I've bought an electric vehicle. I've got a Tesla. This represents a really big moment for us, buying something, investing in something so big as a car. It's the first time I've ever bought a new car. And like I said, I've started a new YouTube channel all about this, called Shaun the Road. Don't know if you get that, but it's basically a play on words, on the road, a road tripping channel, Shaun the Road. So if you go on YouTube and search Shaun the Road, you should find it. I'll also put a link down below. But you know what, this is kind of falls on from what I was talking about earlier. I'm a big believer in the environment, and I think electric vehicles are going to be a big part of that going forward. We know that here in the UK, for example, all sales of petrol and diesel engine cars will be banned from 2030. That's not long. That's only 8 years away. And I think electric vehicles are definitely going to be part of the future for sustainability in terms of energy. Now, we're very lucky here in Scotland. This is not like this everywhere in the world, but here in Scotland, almost all of our energy that we use, electricity-wise, is generated by renewable energy. So wind turbines or solar's quite a small part of it, but wind turbines, hydroelectric, and we do have nuclear as well, but it's basically all quite green, and that's great for anybody who owns an electric vehicle, because basically any miles that I do in this car, and it'll be a lot of miles, will be generated via
renewable energy, and we won't be emitting anything. And you know, there's a lot of people who will say, but batteries, you know, how will we discard them? The energy that goes into making the batteries and all the rest of it. But you know, they reckon after driving 8,000 miles in an electric vehicle, that is the balance point between where it becomes more environmentally friendly. So from 8,000 miles onwards versus a petrol or diesel car, the electric vehicle has made up its ground in terms of what went into producing this thing, in terms of the carbon savings for driving electric vehicles. You know, I love driving electric cars. I think they're great. But anyway, more about the kind of driving side of electric vehicles will be on my other channel, Sean the Road. Make sure you check that out. If you're interested in road tripping, sustainable energy, electric vehicles, I'm excited to be talking more about all that kind of stuff over there. And we've just stopped here at the charger in Fort William. I'm about to unplug, and then we're going to get on our way back down to Edinburgh. I'm thinking if we can stop somewhere on the way. The weather has been just atrocious today again. That rain just hasn't given in. And that right there, sustainable electricity in Scotland, 0 emissions. And by using all these miles that I'm going to be using here in Scotland, using electricity, I'm going to be emitting, well, obviously nothing, and not stopping at a petrol station anymore. And that's why I think electric vehicles are going to be a big part of all of us, all of our transportation needs going forward. Whether that is road, whether that is rail, whether that is even flying one day. Oh, it's windy up here. It's windy up here in the Highlands. We just passed the Three Sisters up at Glencoe. And I'm stopping somewhere that I don't think I've ever stopped before. Maybe I've stopped there once. There's a huge waterfall here, which usually is pretty dry, to be honest. But obviously with the rain that we've had the last couple of days, I could see as we were driving past it was pretty full with water. So I'm going to take a wee walk down and see what it looks like up close. There's a viewing platform here now as well. Plenty of water today, look at that! Wow! That is amazing. We're talking about all the water that we have in Scotland. There's an example of it. We've got so many waterfalls here in Scotland, and in the summertime some of them you can take a wee dip even, but at this time of year you don't want to be going anywhere near them. Safe platforms like this one where you can view them, because there's an awesome force in that water coming down that hill. Wow, you can feel it blowing. Anyway, it's absolutely freezing. I'm getting back to the car.